Hey guys, today we are back in the workshop and today I want to show you how I work on small batches of knives, and I've got a new knife design. You remember me doing the Indomitor with that curved handle in the one day build video, and we've got some templates or some blanks here cut out, a little bit cooler with those skeletonized handle. We've got some jimping in it. And this knife is planned without scales for now, but we're working on something, but that is for later on. So let's get started with that knife. So the first task is to clean up the edges of the knife from the water jet cuts. They're not too rough, but I just want to regrind them, get them on spot and make them rectangular. And then we can get some nice rounded spines onto these knives. So we'll go to my belt grinder in the horizontal mode, and then also to my small contact wheel to clean up all these edges right here. Alright, so the spine is now cleaned up by the belt grinder, and now we're going to round off the spine. So for reference points, I'm going to mark it out with blue Dicam and then use my scribing tool to mark out some lines, and then I'm going to take the files to the spine and round that off. And in the last stage, I'm going to use some sandpaper to clean it off. So the spine has been rounded off, and I've also marked out a center line on the knife. So now we're going to start working on the bevel, and I've decided that I'm going to use my big wheel, the 16-inch contact wheel for these knives. So we have a nice hollow grind, but it's also not too hollow. So we have a nice stable edge in the end. So that's going to be pretty cool. So let's get started with the grinding. Alright, so the knives are now in heat treating kiln, and I've sandblasted them beforehand and also put them in heat treating foil because we're working today on SB1 or Nylox steel. That is a stainless steel, and we are running the oven over 1000 degrees. And if you're on that high temperatures, you really want to protect the steel from oxygen, so that's why we are putting them into these stainless steel heat treating pouches. And we also don't quench the steel in heat treating oil. We're quenching it between two aluminum plates and with compressed air, because the steel is an air hardening steel, and with the aluminum plates we're keeping the knife pretty straight, and the aluminum is sucking out the heat really fast, and that's why we're getting a nice heat treat. After the heat treat, we're going to put them overnight into liquid nitrogen, then we're going to temper them, and then we can finish up those knives. Alright, so the knives are now heat treated, so now we can finish up those knives, so let's get started with that. So we are now at my etching station. I've got a Personalizer Plus, and that is an etching machine, and we need some stencils for the logo so we can etch that in. So let's get on with that. Alright, so I've etched the logos, I've also sandblasted them. You have probably not seen the sandblasting because I can barely see into that machine, so bear with me. And now the knives are in the acid, just to darken down, and then we can throw them into the tumbler to get the nice stonewash finish, and then we are basically done besides the sharpening steps. Alright, so the knives are now stonewashed, so now we're going to sharpen them up, and I'm using the Tormek T4, and I have actually 4 of them. So I have a 320, 600, 1200, and then I have a leather stropping wheel. That is roughly my process on how I sharpen my knives. The cool thing about the Tormek is you can set an angle, and you also have it water cooled so you don't burn out your edges, which is super important, so we keep the nice heat treatment on these blades. So let's sharpen them up. Alright guys, so the Indomitor Shadow is done. Actually, with this knife I don't have to do any kind of sheaths, because for the Indomitor and the Hydra I get the sheaths made by Kydex Holster and L, and they fit into the standard Indomitor sheath, which is kind of cool because you can adjust them from the tightness, and they're pretty flat, so you can carry them really nicely. We've got 5 knives done, which was a pretty cool project to show you how I batch work on my knives, and I'm pretty stoked that these knives are done now, so I can take some pictures and put them up on the web shop. Alright guys, so this is it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just drop them down below. I try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you want to see more videos like that, just hit the subscribe button, and we'll see us in the next video.